Okay, guys, we are live. For those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly Dungeon Master this evening. I'm also a bit of the prognosticator, because I predicted that as soon as we log in, our one remaining player would arrive. Tonight, we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign. Well, this is a war story in our ongoing campaign. Our ongoing campaign, we use the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition rules to run that game. Tonight, we are continuing on our war story, set about 6 months in the past, in the same setting as our ongoing campaign, playing Carl Sargent's awesome Night Below campaign. But tonight's session, we're continuing to use Paizo Publishing's very cool Pathfinder 2nd Edition Fantasy RPG. And with me tonight are the stars of the Night Below campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you are playing. George, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can, yeah, perfect. First up is George.
Oh, hey, I'm George. I am playing Nox the Unexpected, who is a human invoker of the 3rd level.
Very nice. Next up is Andrew.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew. I'm playing Teneth Thirindol, an elven rogue.
Nice. Next up is, you got it right, yeah. What the heck? Listen, I screwed enough things up in the intro and the time beforehand, so I think I fell on the sword for that one. Next up is Will.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm playing Chael. He is a elf cleric.
Very nice. Next up is our Peruvian correspondent, Steve-O.
Good evening. Thank you. Yes, this evening I'm playing once again Rilligo, the half-elf. It says deity. No, not half-elf deity. Half-elf bard, who is level 3.
Nice. And last but certainly not least is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Calidor. He is an elven fighter, kind of thief.
Perfect. So, guys, this campaign, or this mini adventure that we've been on right now, has seen our heroes explore a different part of the map that we have been playing on. Let me just get your tokens back down here, guys. So while the vast majority of our campaign has taken place in Herrenshire, we have gone north for this story up to Midmark, the theocracy, a sort of a mini theocracy province in the what do you call it, the yeomanry. Our heroes started off by arriving in Eastdale in search of 2 lost paladins, 2 allies, or former allies of them, and servants of their, not their lord, but I would say your patron. And since arriving in Eastdale, things have gone from, I don't know, curious to curiouser. Guys, you have met a number of different people in the course of your travels in Eastdale. You've also encountered or now recently encountered some adversaries in Eastdale as well. And last time you uncovered even more secrets, hundreds of years old in Eastdale. Guys, what happened last time? George, you always take great notes. What?
I do, except
Totally
I was not here that last time. But we basically got a lot of information from various sources throughout all of Eastdale, whether they were clerical in nature or magical in nature, or just your regular run-of-the-mill people in general. And we were on the trail trying to figure out what really transpired with these 2 paladins. We ultimately discovered there was some ploy going on with this roguish woman who was inviting us to meet her in like a dark alley, basically. Yes, there she is right there.
Wine and Dabbler.
So Winan wanted us to fork over some gold pieces in exchange for this book that we were looking for, but we started to not believe that she would have possession of such a thing. And we had other various entities that we thought we might meet with, like John the Miller, etc. But we kind of ultimately, I think, came to the conclusion that maybe a lot of this was not either accurate or real. So the last thing I know is that some kid came into my room and started.
You guys have hirelings. I love it.
we have hireling. What else happened? You don't know. That's the sort of basically the end of what Knox is aware of, and maybe somebody from last week can pick off from there.
If only we'd listened. If only we'd remembered what George was
other people talking.
Yeah, we went to. So you'll be shocked, George, to hear that we went to go chat with John the Miller. Look at his face. He's like, "Oh, jeez." I can't say the word because there's a child present.
He can't hear you. Go for it.
Oh, right. Hey, you dipshits.
Hey, we knew it was a trap.
We went to the mill. Yeah, we knew it was a trap. We weren't completely stupid. So everybody went in. Tanev kind of held back and hid to try to see if we could get any sort of indication of anything untoward. We started chatting with John, who tried to play dumb, not so effectively, but tried anyway. While this was happening, I'm going to miss some details of what was happening inside because I was busy outside. We had some interlopers come and try to trap us. And so I alerted the rest of the group, started fighting some of the bad guys, which led to some killing all around. The inside, I guess the party, John did swing first, I'm pretty sure, but they dispatched the rest of his crew inside, taking him captive or knocking him out. We had one guard outside that we captured. We tried to interrogate the both of them. The orc, neither was having anything of it, but Chael and Calidor started exploring downstairs in the mill. Chael, what did you discover? It was pretty fun stuff, and we missed Knox because it would have been.
We were kind of looking for a smuggling place, something like that. And while we were down there, I began to sense some sort of emanation from the corner in there, and I wasn't sure if it was undead or what, but I knew it was unholy. So Droon, I think, ended up coming down, and he and I were both down there, and we're ready to rock. And we found this secret. It's not even a room; a closet is probably a better description of it. But inside was a temple to Ouijas, which is not another evil deity for you to fall under the influence of. I don't care what you've read. I don't care what you've heard.
You're basically one of those people who goes from like MLM to MLM.
Yeah.
Basically, like, it's time, Manny. I'm gonna make it big. Ouijas.
Let's see. I know we found that there was let me see if I can remember. There was a book that had, I want to say, metal pages that were etched in it. I believe that's correct. And there was also, I think, a ceremonial dagger.
Yes. Riligo translated the cover of because it was written in ancient Sualese, and the cover is The Abominable Devastation. A script about the Stern Lady, also known as the...
Yeah, so, light bedside reading.
Mm-hmm. And a dagger as well.
The dagger. I believe we took both of those, I think.
You did?
I'm almost 100% we took the book. Does that sound right, Andrew?
Yeah, we took both. At 100% sure.
Yeah, and then we headed back to town, didn't we?
We did. One or two prisoners short. Because Droon, so Tanev started floating. Yeah. He floated the idea of maybe John doesn't need to come out of here, as alive as he is right now. Chael and Droon were not really big fans of that idea. Droon in particular, and made it very clear that he did not want that to happen. you know. Somehow, however, came downstairs to join Chael and thought it was a good idea to leave Tanev guarding John. And I swear, this I did not, do anything to provoke this, other than maybe, taunt John a little bit, maybe. And John suddenly, no, this is what it was. John seemed angry. He said something in a language I couldn't understand. The orc seemed to react to that, so Tanev, catching that, tried to press the orc for a translation, and just as it seemed,
I think
the orc
you bribed the orc. You bribed him away.
I promised the orc I would let him go. Fat chance, but anyway, whatever. Yeah, so the orc seemed like he was thinking about it, but never got the chance to say anything because John somehow had managed to escape the bonds and stabbed him in the throat or in the back like 15 times. And so Tanev
set his dagger to stun, and then
I thought I had. I thought I pressed the stun setting. I can't help it. It's a new weapon.
Yep.
I haven't played Pathfinder in a while.
Yep. So let me see. The rest of you guys, do you have anything to add to Andrew's admirable summary of what happened over the last 2 sessions?
No, that's everything I remember.
Okay.
So the only other particulars that I would add are that the shrine itself was actually a little larger than a closet. It was about 20 feet by 20 feet. Sorry, 10 feet by 10 feet.
So
it was a little bit bigger. But what it also appeared was what the Droon's experience with stonework. He was able to identify that it looks like the masonry and whatnot in here and the altar had been transported from elsewhere. Like at least several centuries before, and the stonework, the stone that was used in here, this deep crimson stone, it's not the local, mined or local quarried stone that was used to, say, build the Red Temple and some of the other buildings in here. The massive stone disc that was in the center of the altar, standing before with the Weejas's face on it. That likewise had looked like it had been transported from elsewhere. It had a distinctly Sully's style to it. And the last thing that the Tanev found, there was a ring that that John was wearing. And on the inside of the ring, on the outside, it looked just like a dull kind of bluish steel thing that had a flower and whatnot on it from his work. But within it, there was, on the inside, there was writing in Sully's, ancient Sully's, in fact. But Rilligo was able to translate it, and it was, "The stern lady keeps the cold heart."
Yeah, I remember that.
Did Druin have a sense of how long ago this construction might have happened, as opposed to how old the stone was?
The construction, he thought, was several centuries. The stone itself and the original, like the original masonry and whatnot, the designs for Weejas, we're talking thousands of years.
Wow. Okay.
This would have been relocated centuries. The impression being that this altar may have been here for generations.
Okay.
So where we ended was with you guys coming back to call effectively a council. With what's his name? The head of the town. Oop, where are you? For a priest, he's got a great fucking hide check. Where are you?
Yeah.
Here he is, Venerable Mercy, Mordekar the Just Hand. So Mordekar the Just Hand is the prelate? Where is it? Mordekar. Yes, the prelate of Eastdale. And the thought was you would also collect the head priest of the Temple of Lore, because you had not actually met. You made friends with that one with Brother Ethrian, the half-elf priest of Bacab. but you had not yet met the head of the church. And I think there was also, because he has an expertise in the in Suli's artifacts and whatnot, there was also a thought of speaking to Mirren, having him attend as well. Am I missing anything, guys? Or does that cover bring us up to where we are?
Was there anybody in particular who was sort of taking the lead on this conversation, or had that not been decided?
Last time it was actually Drin and Chael, I think, or Chael was the one who took the lead.
That makes sense.
With priest to priest, as it were. So one thing I did look up afterwards, we were talking at the end of last session, one of the possibilities of of sanctifying the place too. I mentioned that one of the ways that Pathfinder 2 changes sort of the dynamics of spells, but still keeps sort of the same, is it just some of the spells that take longer to cast, or that that were typically utility spells in previous editions, they are now rituals, and one of those rituals is Consecrate. The casting time for Consecrate, Chael and Droon are both of sufficient level to likely know that. Normally you do need to actually in-game go and learn them, but we're sort of picking up these characters in the course of their adventures, so I think it's reasonable to think both of them would have come across and learned it. However, it takes 3 days to cast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the casting time is 3 days and requires a minimum of 3 casters. So between the two of you and someone else from it, you would have known that was the case, but that's sort of the way to weaken the power. Chael and Droon both felt a very, very powerful pull from the shrine. It definitely had substantial magical power, or divine power, I guess, specifically. So, what do you guys, or is there anything you guys wish to do before we cut to the council? Nada?
I have no.
No? Okay.
I mean, the magic that we know seems to be, anyway, at least divine. Could I try to take a closer look at it and try to start to maybe potentially figure out what kind of magic it might be in terms of, is it conjuration? Is it...
Chael can answer that for you.
Oh, again. Chael, did you look closely at this? What kind of magic is it?
One of the things that was the Pathfinder 2 Chael has his connection to magic through his ancestry manifests in the ability to detect magic at will. So he'd actually used his elven heritage to draw on it. And remember, it was a strong necromantic aura that he had detected there. Joss is, of course, goddess of magic and death.
All tracks.
Unholy stench.
Yep.
Of beyond the dead.
Sweet. Sweet.
And no, you can't read it. And he smacks his hand.
But I might be able to. Okay.
Death, magic, vanity, and law.
Interesting.
She is one thing we talked about, the difference between, last time we talked a little bit about Macabre again, how unusual it would be because there are Suli's ruins here. It was unusual that the Temple of Macabre would take such an interest in build a temple here. It seems as if there is a rival cult of a god interested in magic, just one that is outlawed in Middenmark.
I know that's totally justified. I mean, maybe she has a point. No.
Do you guys want to have? Well, I guess first off, knowing how long it takes to cast Consecrate, does that alter your plans whatsoever?
Well, one question is, did it have to be 3 divine spellcasters?
Yeah.
or can it be any spellcaster?
No, it's a good question. One of the neat things with the ritual, so long as you have training in the skill and you know the ritual, and I don't think the secondary casters need to actually know the ritual.
Okay.
Let me double check that while I'm looking.
So what I will offer up to the party is that if there's help required and I can be of service, I will participate. But I'm happy to do other things prior to engaging that ritual.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Secondary casters do not need to cast spells. The primary casters, it appears, do. Because it is a spell. But the secondary casters do not need to know it. So long as they've got training in the necessary skill. So, for instance, with Consecrate, the requirement... they must be worshippers of the same religion.
Okay. Well, not so much.
Well, here you want to be baptized.
Can it just be for 3 days?
Can I get the weekend pass to your religion, or?
I do not know if I can.
Not come out of the water.
That's right. I don't know if I can help you with this. I'll take a pass.
So does that alter your thoughts?
What do you think, Shale?
If they need to all be of the same religion, I mean, we don't need to be a part of it at all.
Right.
That's true.
You know, the priest of St. Cuthbert can handle that.
So then, what do you guys want to do? You would have had this conversation heading over to meet to tell the prelate what's going on, or the mayor, what's happened in the thing. You guys did seal off and lock the doors into the windmill as well too, so no one's going to stumble across what's been left behind in there
until we figure out our cover story.
Well, I guess, and the thing is, so if you're not going to stick around here for this, what do you guys want to do next then? You did find where... Well, there was one other tidbit that John did let slip, and he referred to Wynand as a he.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
possibly we've encountered shapeshifters in the past. Essentially,
Could be a
shapeshifter.
doppelganger, shapeshifter, could be just pure illusion magic, who knows?
And Knox, given that you were from the south, this is something you would know automatically. There are divine casters who are members of a fire, sort of a magical, what do you call them, like a wizard cleric, classes that are part of the Scarlet Brotherhood, a flame-worshipping deity, or coven, I guess, maybe, or order, devoted utterly and thoroughly to Ouijas.
Oh, that's I will absolutely relay that to the entire party, just in case it's sparked any other thoughts.
Yeah, because they're less common further north, but they are one of the reasons that, a bunch of Sulis, a Sulis minority is able to dominate the region down there is because of this phenomenally powerful wizards and clerics and assassins and all the monks, the other awful resources they can deploy. The fire mages, I wish I could remember the name. I can actually look it up. Hold on, I'll tell you the name of the cult here. It is.
And are they prominent in the South, or is it just something I've heard of?
No, you have likely heard of them. Okay. The Cabal of the Ever-Burning Flame.
Oh, good name.
Yeah.
Do they take new members? No.
I'm going to do with this guy.
This is old. This is old Knox. New Knox is good. He's
right. This is old Knox.
One of the differences, I guess, between Thara's Dune is not even doesn't even really fall into any of the. He's a nihilist, or it's a nihilist. It doesn't fall into any, any avatar, any sort of alignment thing. At the very least, Ouijas is evil. She is lawful, though.
So at least I'd be for something
Yeah.
instead of just against everything.
Yeah.
That seems like a step in the right direction.
You realize I'm chaotic good, right?
Oh, I'm definitely aware of that.
So with that in mind,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you do know where she met. There's apparently a place that was west of town. Like there's a farm with a big oak tree, and then behind the oak tree there's a path that leads up to some old standing stones. That would have been the place that John would have sent you. So that's the other information that you had to potentially follow up. Although you do remember the last time you encountered her, Nox, or them, the whoever Winan is, they were out of the components to cast invisibility.
Right. Yep. I remember that.
Yeah.
So we should not waste time. She cannot get away from us as easily as she normally can. Perhaps
Unfortunately,
we should.
then you guys went to the what do you call it? Rather than following up on that, you guys did go to the windmill instead.
Windmill, yeah.
So
Well,
at the very least,
it may be too late, but we might as well try.
sure. So then,
Unless you have something else that's more pressing you'd rather do.
Well, the only other main thing to do would be to investigate the book possibly a bit more. That would be the other thing, and I would say probably the best thing to do would probably be take it to the priests of Macabre and let them look at it and see what they come up with. But yeah, no, I'm totally fine with us trying to hunt her down, or it.
it would be a them, if nothing.
Yeah.
They.
Yeah. I say for
Yes.
Tharizdun, because Tharizdun is a being older than gods, is likely beyond gender
Well, I
identification.
don't have to hunt him down. I
Yeah.
mean, he's right over here.
So perhaps the plan of action should be to drop off the book with an explanation and then try to track them down.
Yeah.
So,
I'm good with that.
drop the book off with the Church of St. Cuthbert or the Church of...
The Church of Macabre, I think, sounded like what Shale was suggesting.
So one thing that Chael would know then, the Church of Macabre does have a presence here, and it appears that it is a welcome presence as far as the Church of St. Cuthbert is concerned, but remember, this is a theocracy. So this is the domain of St. Cuthbert, and then they are both the masters of the temporal and the divine realm.
And are they easily offended? Meaning, if we were to request further information from another source, would that be upsetting? Do we know if that would be upsetting to them?
Chael had made a terrific impression on the mayor previously on the.
Yeah, he had like a massive, an amazing role. I remember.
Mordecai. Yeah, on and then when you guys also revealed someone spying on him or on your meeting as well too, that further reinforced the plan. He's absolutely on board with doing what he can to help you guys. The threat of someone trying to prey on other people in town, it's a criminal within their walls. St. Cuthbert doesn't truck with that stuff. The only reason I mention is you would not offend them by going there first, but in all likelihood, because they are guests in another faith's land, they would likely defer to them. It's likely a road that would lead back to the Church of St. Cuthbert anyway. And if you wanted to what you did was wanted to request that they come in as well too, St. Cuthbert would certainly or the priesthood of St. Cuthbert would likely welcome someone with more expertise in magic, like the priests of Macabre.
Okay, so there's not a rivalry between the two.
Definitely not. No.
Okay, cool.
No, I was just thinking about going to them first because it felt more magic focused than.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so again, like it's not going to cause any problems by any means.
Yeah.
Just it may. Yeah, I think your character would likely understand that it's given their position in town, it's likely going to end up involving them anyway, which is why I think we thought about having a sort of town conference with all those parties.
Right. Yeah. Perhaps we should inform the prelate of everything we know and invite the idea of bringing in the priest of Macabre to consult on what's happening. But you know more about these things than I do, Shale, and you're much better with people.
Well, I think it'd be very easy to speak with the heads of the orders and have them come together, and a collective pool of knowledge.
Agreed.
So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan at this point, is to go ahead and try and get all of us together.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just putting everyone's name in chat so we all have them, as I am having a hard time remembering them for like
We have
20 seconds. I can't imagine how it is for you. What ridiculous string of noises did you put together for this name, Madison?
Yeah.
Maybe if they were all just sound effects, you would remember them better.
Well, this is why I do the silly voices, to be honest, is so that, it's an easier way of reinforcing who you're talking to.
I wish I could emulate your sound of your accents and tones of voice in my games, because I cannot, and it does make the players remember them more easily. And I guess you too.
I figure he's just got a D26 of the alphabet and he just rolls it.
Oh, I want that now. That's a great idea. I wonder if somebody has a 26-sided die.
Where is it here?
I don't know if that's mathematically possible.
It probably isn't. I guess you could do like a D30 and then use the other 4 sides for something else.
So there's an
Like
adventure.
4 Qs, obviously. 4 extra Qs.
I'm not going to waste time digging it up, but there's an adventure for basic D&D called Arena Thyatus. And at the back of it, it has a guide for creating Thyacian names, which are just like, Byzantine names. And it is up until, I think, the release of some of these more recent OSR products where there's tons of names and whatnot. One of my favorite naming products of all fucking time, because it had 3 different components you could put together for the first name, and then 3 different components you could put together for the surname, so you could have just terrific, all names that sounded like they were all part of the same culture, but still have an enormous amount of variety to it. Great adventure.
That's cool.
Okay, so there's that, and then the leader of the Temple of Lore is... Here, I did dig something out. I was reading last night. I was reading up ahead of time for this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got on a bit of a tear with writing. Not to for this war story necessarily, but for the campaign in general. I was struck by a little bit of inspiration. Okay.
And just to clarify, the magician is of the Temple of Macabre. Is that right?
No, he's an independent magician. If you look on the map there, that kind of dome is the temple, and then right to the right of it, I believe, is where he lives.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys come in, you meet with the, very briefly, the steward, you may remember as the person in between, the one who had little side things, the one who made friends with Droon so well by having little side comments throughout. What do you explain to him? Do you just simply say that you need to meet with Mordekar again, or do you provide some further explanation?
Yeah, I need to meet with. Let's see, we need to meet and discuss a matter.
I mean, one thing I can to make it easier for you too. You guys are coming in with the appearance of having been in a scrap. At the very least, you've got the and I think that what we talked about last time would be that some of the they're to washing off cuts and bruises and stuff like that, and getting things out of, blood out of clothing and whatnot. You may have the appearance of as if you'd been in more of a scrap than you had before.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we need to discuss the appearance of an unnamed cult in the area.
Okay, that definitely gets the steward's attention. He brings you in. The prelate, he's probably occupied with something at first, but kind of cancels that meeting in order to meet with you guys. And I suspect it was because it's only been a matter of a couple of hours at most that you've been gone. I think that it may have been in relation to the security. He's quite happy to see you again. He at first meets you in his private chamber. You may remember that they're on the left side of this temple. There's like the place where the town hall meetings would take place, and the other like council meetings or larger meetings. And then there's his private kind of office or chambers. Where he gets his work done. That's where, once again, you guys are meeting with him, though this time he has closed the curtains to the back to ensure there's no eavesdroppers. And what is it that you tell him?
I mean, I think I may just even show him, the book.
Okay.
And be like, okay.
So as soon as let's just start with that. As soon as you open up the thing and put it down, his face grows quite grave, and he looks up and says, "Where was this found?"
We found it in a hidden shrine in the mill of John the Miller.
He looks down. The script is not familiar to me. Do any of you know it?
Yes. It is, what do we say, Siluese?
Ancient Sulis, yeah.
Yes, Ancient Siluese. It is a tome to Ouijas.
The stern lady her faith is forbidden in Middenmark.
Nonetheless, the indications are that at least John was a worshiper. And when we investigated the windmill, we were also set upon by, and it was orcs, wasn't it, Kevin?
And half-orcs.
Half-orcs, excuse me.
So when you say John the Miller, one thing he does, he looks over at the seneschal, or the servant, or not servant, the steward, and he says, one of the millers, one of the most successful operators, and he sort of nods. An old family. He nods and looks back at you.
We believed they were that John was involved in somehow, possibly some of the smuggling, maybe even having touched the spell book that we had been after. And while going up there and questioning him about this and trying to
forgive me, Chill. How did his name come to you?
Well, that goes back to our original contact with Wynan the half-elf in the inn.
The wizard?
Yes, she was a wizard of some sort, we feel fairly confident. And she had said that when we were ready, that John the Miller would arrange the exchange of money for the book. But upon our questioning of him, we were set upon by a band of half-orcs that appeared to be in his employ. And we had to fight our way out. And upon further investigation, I located that shrine to the Stern Lady. There was the book, and there's also what appears to be a ceremonial dagger.
He's standing, and he's got, at first he was standing with his hands both down on his desk, but they've sort of rolled over, and he's now got his knuckles down on the desk. And you can see, his shoulders are just rock solid with tension. And he says, the church was beneath our noses for all this time.
I could not specifically speak to how old that shrine may have been, but it was in basically, I mean, a cellar, Kevin, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's part of the foundation of the building. So I would say as long as the mill has stood, most likely.
His
that
eyes,
shrine was
without
there.
really moving all that much, his eyes just sort of move over to the steward. The steward kind of nods and says, some families have been here before the stones of the Red Temple were first laid. And
that
Mordecai nods. Does he live?
So anyways, we brought those items back primarily as evidence, but also perhaps for you, or perhaps
Does he live?
you know,
This Miller.
no.
Good.
No, he did not survive.
Straightens up. Good.
And it was
lawful.
like he was becoming suddenly very interested in some sort of like texture on the wall, not anything adorning the wall, just the wall itself. And all of a sudden, like, looks over as soon as he says that, and a visible sign of relief on his face.
But yes, we were thinking bringing it back to you, discussing it with you, and possibly consulting with perhaps the priest of Macabre to maybe ascertain more knowledge about this tome.
Kelda is the head of that temple of Macabre. She would be of great assistance in this. Do you know much of the faith of Ouijas?
Well, let me roll a religion check, I
Sure.
guess.
Let's get
I
some
would
dice
assume
rolling.
yes.
Speaking of which, we've been going half an hour.
I mean-
Nat 1.
Oh my gosh.
Chael slowly transforms. You fool! I am she! Ah!
Oh yeah, man, we just far out, man. Ooh, bruh.
So everyone has
yeah.
one hero point to start with. You guys are getting a second one because we're half hour into the session.
Nice.
You want to spend that to re-roll there,
Yeah, I'm
Chael?
gonna
Or?
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll that.
You're not happy with your
Terrible,
one?
terrible, terrible.
All right. So
Not much better,
not
but it is
much
better.
really. No, and I mean beyond the very basics of what he had said, he sort of straightens up and he says she is amongst other aspects of magic. She is a goddess of the dead, and the combination of the two. Her ancient faith dates back to the time of the Sulis Empire, their war with the Baklunish, and the time of the reign of colorless fire. And it's said by some that she is the reason the empire fell. Their lack of faith in her, that she, being the fickle goddess that she is, the red sorceress, allowed her people to be eliminated for lack of faith. She is a vain and selfish and evil goddess, but clever as well. I agree that Kelda will be of great assistance in this. We welcomed the order of Macabre, the temple of lore, into the town to avoid and keep watch for such things. The ruins, you may know, in the Great Rock Dale are of Suli's origin and date back to that time and that forgotten and corrupt empire. Our fear was was that the influence of the Red Sorceress would come and perniciously infect. They may know more of the tricks that her magic may bring. The bodies. What did you do with them?
I think we left them where they lay, did we not?
You did.
Isn't that right? Yes.
We secured the building.
That is correct. We did secure the building, and we knew that the shrine would need to be dealt with by a body of clergy. So we knew someone would go back there.
Indeed, and we will. There will be no trace of that by the end of week. And he looks at looks at his seneschal, and seneschal nods. Seneschal's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Sounds better than secretary or assistant.
Yeah.
So he's the administrative assistant.
He's the undersecretary.
Oh man. So he nods and says, I think perhaps Muirin may be of assistance here as well too.
That is indeed possible.
He is one who keeps his faith with the cudgel, but has a great knowledge of these ancient ruins. But the body's left, though. Did you find the sorceress again? The wizard?
No, and that was our next step, was to bring these items to you for your analysis and dealing with, and we are next in pursuit of one.
I think we will ensure that these are kept in a safe location, though. I think we may, if we cannot destroy them, then they may need to be sent elsewhere for safekeeping. You come to us seeking assistance, of which we can offer none. Yeah, exactly. Of which we can offer little, if anything, and you continue to offer more assistance to Eastdale and to its... We are grateful. Thank you.
Well, the knowledge of a good deed done well.
We will arrange for you to have an opportunity to clean up, but I will call him council promptly. Take a half hour, and I'll ensure that Muirin and Kelda are brought here, hence promptly. Was there anything else you wish to tell him? He seems to be dismissing you guys, but is there anything else?
No, I'm good with that. I mean, he's running the show.
Okay.
So yeah,
and you're leaving the dagger as well?
Yeah. What's that?
You're leaving the dagger as well?
I mean, I think so. The last thing I want is more evil relics floating around Knox. I'm just saying, folks.
You're not wrong.
No.
I mean, you could offer it as a gift, right? Like that's worked out well.
I'll just borrow it.
So then...
yeah, I would say leave both.
Okay.
Yes, get rid of it.
Yep. So, I mean, there are the insignia and the sigils and whatnot on the dagger are distinctly to Weejas. So you leave it with them, which gives you about a half hour time to get yourselves, cleaned up and whatnot. If any of you are down your focus points, you will have 10 minutes to do whatever you need to do, pray or meditate or whatnot. Nox, I'm not sure you've used your focus spell yet.
I do not believe so.
Okay, and Cho, you did.
I did.
Yeah, so you can take your time to get that back. No one's injured right now. anything you guys wish to do while the council is being called?
What time of day is it, Kevin?
It is. It was quite early when you guys went over. It's probably noon or just slightly past at this point.
Yeah, still early. So then, no, probably not.
Why? What were you thinking, Jeff?
Oh, I was just thinking I would go to the bar for a drink, but it's a little early. Calidor's not that upset by what happened.
They wouldn't have
Give it time.
cartography.
You give it time. Tonight, we shall have a drink.
What was that, Will?
I was going to say, they wouldn't happen to have anything like a cartographer here.
Like for what are you thinking of?
Like, I'm thinking about where we think we're going to go geographically, and I'm thinking about maybe somebody's already kind of mapped some of that out. That's, that's what I was looking for, perhaps.
Oh, do you mean
we
like
know it's not
for
Go
where
ahead.
you're gonna go, like to
searching for Winan, because he gave us a location, did he not?
Oh yes, you mean like okay, like for the local where the farms are and whatnot. I think that
Right, and like
yeah
that because he told us where the location would be.
Yep.
I could be wrong.
he
but I'm
did.
pretty
Yes,
sure he
it was
did
a town. I
So-
think it was like 2 miles or a mile and a half outside of town,
Right.
or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
so I was looking for maybe some sort of, if somebody's already got some sort of cartography of that, that might be useful.
Yeah, I mean,
to us.
I think that in the temple, why don't you give us, this is a gather information check. You can use, and I can't remember if you've got any feats that allow you to use different things, but it's likely going to be a diplomacy check then. I think it could be religion as well. Religion's being a slightly higher difficulty class, but because it is really like church bureaucracy you're trying to find. They're not only collecting tithes and whatnot, they're also collecting taxes from everybody, so they would likely have a way of keeping track of
I don't
who's
think
with.
I have any specific feats that would work. So
Okay.
so diplomacy would probably looks like the best bet.
Sounds good. Go ahead and give us a diplomacy check. You've shaken that nat 1 out of your system.
Yeah, trying to.
Anyone else have any? So I think that with they can probably get it, but like the records are not going to be easily obtainable right now. There's probably other things, like because they're in the midst of sort of like ramping up their security forces. It's not a matter that it's not there. It's a matter of that it's difficult to access right now. Perhaps if does someone else want to try? Anyone have a lore that they think might be appropriate for trying to find information in a stack?
No.
I have
I'm
lore
pretty sure
masters.
rope won't help me here.
I have a lore master's etude.
Lore Master's which?
Etude. Lore master's etude. I'll press it.
Let's see here. Sure. Okay. Aha. Okay, so that's a recall lore. So, what you could do, Steve, is maybe if you use that ability to basically what it does is it allows someone to make a recall knowledge check twice and take the better of the results.
Right.
This guy, the person who sort of is in charge of the information, while they can't find the actual books, if what you're looking for is the name of a specific farm and where it is, and that's the only information, then you may actually be able to cast it's somatic is the only thing, so it's really just a gesture.
Right.
Maybe some kind of gesture you make, and it causes the magic to really kind of loosen their memory and help them recall stuff.
Cool.
So what are you thinking?
Yeah. Let's see who's got something they could use.
So what do any of you guys? I think then what, Steve, since you're the one doing it, why don't you give us a D20 or give us a 2D20 roll, and we'll take the better of the two.
Aye, Captain.
19.
I'll take it.
You mean, they call it Blackacre. It's near the it's abutting a small forest, or small, to call it a forest is generous. But I know precisely what you're talking about. It's near where the old standing stones are. There's many of them that are found in this region. I know precisely where you mean.
Wonderful.
So they'll give you precise directions of how to get there if you choose to. And the weather still has not turned into full winter as of yet. So if you are interested in going over there, you still can.
Yeah, I think that should be our next stop.
Did they give us a rough estimate of how long it might take to make that journey?
Well, I mean, it's a mile or two, so I mean, like it'll be less, or a mile and a half.
Just half a day or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, a person on foot is 4 miles an hour, so
Yeah.
it's like 20-minute walk.
So this is not through difficult terrain or some kind of over hills and dales. It's just
You guys, if you
straight shot.
racked your memory, you might even remember you passed it at some point.
Oh.
The way that they described, or the way that John the Miller described it, was that you had to, go down a path in order to access this. And this Clark that Rilligo was talking to, he confirms that that's the case. Like, it's not something you can't see the stone from the road. And to be honest, they're not really all that impressive. They have not maintained the way that, say, some of the stones closer to the Great Rock Dale have been maintained. But the yeah, I mean, they're certainly, it's easy to access them. There is a path leading up towards them that seems to never grow over. There still are, those who, in some of the communities, though this is a region that has been turned over to St. Cuthbert, there are many wild places in Middenmark, and in those deep places, people still have offer thanks to Obed High.
I'm happy to go to any place that doesn't require a bunch of weather rolls.
Well, I don't know, George.
Oh no!
No, George, what did you do?
I know.
Unfortunately, we are in the winter, so I do have access to a really terrific
That
product.
book is terrible. I would not ever use that book.
Who is? Oh my gosh, the name's backwards,
No,
but I
that's
can't
yeah.
quite.
I don't know. You definitely don't want that. That's a
No,
this is-
Kevin.
to run away.
Set this right next
Kevin,
to
for
me here.
once,
Must not buy.
yeah.
Exactly.
A terrific product.
I wish I knew it would come back to haunt me.
So many times.
Did you feel like when you turned in your draft of it, did you feel a chill go down your spine?
Yes, I felt like 1 millisecond of relief and then the chill.
It's like 1,000 voices of PCs cried out, and we're suddenly silenced. Oh, all right. So then, what? Yeah. So I mean, it's a matter of like you could do that today without incident, and be able to be back before nightfall, if you so chose.
I'm all for that.
Okay. So anything else, and then really good. So normally, when you cast a focus spell, it does take one of your focus points, but because it's you've got to half an hour to prep, it only takes 10 minutes to get that back. So you could prepare, like you sit down and play a couple, like jam around on your loot for a little bit, and you'll get your focus point back. Which is to say, you haven't spent any focus points there, Steve-O.
Okay. Sure. Let's spend a focus point. Why not?
Okay, so a focus point's under your spell. You'll see right at the top of your spell, there's a way of tracking your focus points. You haven't spent any now then. I think you only have the one.
Okay.
And focus points are different from your hero points, just FYI.
Oh, okay. Well, so hold on. So when I'm casting a spell, do I just say that I'm using a focus point?
When it automatically does, when you see how it says under your spell, divination focus spell level? It's a focus spell. That's how you know it's one of your focus spells. Focus spells. Yeah, it's just like the way that class abilities were used in like other versions of D&D or Pathfinder.
Right.
Focus spells are what? Oh, you have two. You have 2 focus points. Holy shit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so
nice.
you still get to take 10 minutes and get that back as well.
Okay, cool.
One thing I'll tell you too, Steve, if you want to look and see what they do, and forgive me if I'm repeating what I told you before, you can click on that triangle next to it on the right-hand side, and that'll show you all the rules for the spells as well.
Oh, man.
There you
Good
go.
things.
In case you want to look up and see what they do ahead of time. So then, anything else that you guys wish to do? You've got this farm identified, confirm the location and where those standing stones are.
So obviously we do not have time to go there first, so we might want to just prepare to journey out there after we have this meeting with all of these different luminaries of Eastdale. Unless anyone has other suggestions.
No, I think that's the best. Yeah.
So, Weirin and the Kelda. I was going to say Zelda. Kelda of the Arcane and Weirin both show up, and they seem to be sort of talking to each other, because they seem to know each other. Weirin is, you've met before, he's that old guy, human, and Kelda is actually a dark-skinned woman. Looks like she's of human but also mixed ancestry, and she has dark hair. She has a diadem or whatever around her head, big hoop earrings, a robe that looks like it has, when you look at it, it seems as if you're looking at the shifting night sky, a clear sign of magic, and then a very ornate kind of necklace, and sort of like the big kind of thing, like what similar to what Nox wears, with the big metal stuff around on the side. And as you are coming in, or as you guys are brought in, the prelate goes over to meet with them, speaks to them very briefly, and then brings them over and says, my friends, allow me to introduce you to, I understand you have met Weirin previously. And Weirin kind of nods to you all, and you can see that waiting at the door is Potlosh, his little gnomish assistant, who's sort of, looking in and waiting. And then there is, and he says, and the priestess, high priestess of the Temple of Lore, Kelda of the Arcane. And she looks at each of you and says, I understand that you have been in contact with one of our order as well. Brother Ethrian, I understand he's been providing assistance, and that you are originally here for those two brave paladins who had traveled through.
That's correct. We were attempting to find out what happened to our friends in their quest.
Then she says, do you believe that they've run afoul of this cult? Do you think they are victims of them?
Could be one possibility.
That is concerning. Brother Ethrian indicated that he understood that they had been leaving for another town, heading to Kirkliston. Did they not depart? Do we know?
We don't know.
I thought we knew they had departed.
You did.
And we don't know what happened really, because we haven't gone to Kirkliston yet.
Right.
No.
So we don't really know if they ever arrived at Kirkliston.
Correct.
Yeah. So we know they departed here. Past that, we have not had sufficient time to investigate outside of Eastdale.
Well, if they'd left then perhaps they did not run afoul of this same grift as you did, or as was attempted on you. the prelate nods and says I expect that they, when I met with them, they made no reference to this book. So.
Oh, okay, good.
Or at least they made no mention of meeting with anyone for it. I can't see why they would have kept that from me either. They didn't strike me as secretive types. They were plain with their mission. So hopefully, whatever fate they may have found was not found here. And Kelda nods, says that is good. But a cult of Ouijas in our town and operating for so long, how could we have missed this? And Muirin kind of shrugs and says, it's an old faith in an old land. Before, we are newcomers here. And though many of the natives have kept to their old faith, the ruby sorceress is a tempting mistress, and her cult is pernicious. And I've heard tell that in some of the cities of the south, there are those who walk with red cloaks openly.
I can concur with that information.
Then is her rise, something to do with this order then? Is the Brotherhood reaching? I've heard from tales from others that the Brotherhood, since the wars ended, have become more ambitious and open in their schemes. And they pray to the Stern Lady. And Muirin says, if their connection to their Suli's ancestry remains strong, there may be reason for why they may know more of what can be found in the ruins than any. It's said that their lineage dates back, and the elder members of the Brotherhood, they have an unbroken line back to the reign of colorless fire. He sounds almost jealous of the knowledge.
Is it? Are we all aware of what? I mean, I know as players are aware of Reign of Colorless Fire, but is that something that, because it's so long ago, that we have any familiarity with?
I think you guys are, because of the nature of the ruins. You guys did know that they were Suli's ruins found in there, and they date back to the Reign of Colorless Fire.
Okay, so that there was this war between two civilizations, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
That's sort of the particulars of which, like in the same way that, like, say, we know there was an ancient Egypt, all of us collectively, but none of us are Egyptologists, so we don't know what the 6th dynasty or the 9th, making a distinction, the old kingdom, new kingdom, and whatnot. It's not stuff wouldn't know the particulars of that.
Yeah.
Whereas,
okay, so, but it's not like we're like, what are they talking about? We have a general sense.
It's part of a tale, right? Like, I mean, it's one of those cautionary tales. A traumatic event, anyone who looks at a map and points at the desert and says, why is there a desert there? You can point to the catastrophic impact of magic. The most devastating magical effect ever worked on the planet is, there was the invoked devastation, and then in return there was the reign of colorless fire.
Right.
What those actually consisted of and what it actually means, completely lost to history.
Okay.
But that is definitely stuff you would know, and then some of you might know more about that.
Okay, but we do know that it's I think thousands of miles from where we are at this point, maybe hundreds.
Oh, most definitely. What is it? It doesn't.
It's all the way to the very southwest of the map, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
And we're kind of almost in the middle.
Yes, yes.
In fact, I have right here. Look at this. Right sitting next to my desk.
Perfect.
I just did not treat it well when I was 10.
There's my player's guide. Well, in any event, I'm sure I put it.
I just wanted to make sure what I can role play that knocks nose.
Absolutely.
Was really
Yep.
what I was asking. Yeah.
Yep, that's absolutely a sea of dust.
Sea of dust. Yes.
Okay. But yes, this is so, and that's one of the unusual things about those ruins is that the Great Rock Dale itself is overrun with humanoids and a wide variety. But in spite of all that, they still, some adventurers are foolish enough to delve deep into there. And you also remember that somewhere in there, you also found one of those elvish stones. You guys had, the only time you guys have ventured into the Great Rock Dale is when you guys were traveling back to Feathertop, or what is it, Featherfall. Because you guys, that's a great looking map.
I love this
Gorgeous.
map.
Yeah,
It's so
gorgeous.
awesome.
Yeah. The when you guys went to Featherfall, Elanian had because of the contact that, or the wisdom that he gained from that stone giant, that undead stone giant, the Keeper. He has the ability to use those travel stones, and one of them was located in the Great Rock Dale. You guys used that to travel to Heathertop Warren, and then you traveled from there down to Featherfall. So the only time, in addition to the Sully's ruins, it seems like there are ancient elven ruins of some kind, which would have predated the Sully's. So,
some ancient magic and possibly some ancient religions perhaps have manifested here as well.
Kelda nods and says, indeed, it was not common, at least as we understand it, and there certainly were no surviving face that we were aware of when we came, but the Stern Lady has devotees in many, many cities. It is by no means an underground faith, though certainly one outlawed within Middenmark.
Is this your first encounter with information that the cult of Ouijas may have been resurrected in these parts?
She looks over at the prelate, and there's a sort of a knowing look between the two, and he says, they should know. And he nods and looks over at Murian, and the prelate says, this stays here. And he nods, looks over at Potlatch, and Potlatch is like, and what she says is, what is known by what is common knowledge is that centuries ago, several centuries back, a necromancer arose in the Hardlow Woods. The necromancer using their dark gifts, raised an impressive army that was only defeated through the brave efforts of a paladin. And she sort of recalls, she's like, the very paladin that your friends, Sir Lothar Palfrey, he and his companions came and put down the necromancer. What was not known at large was where he came from. And while we do not know for certain, for Sir Lothar was the only who survived, it appears that the necromancer drew power in part from the Scarlet Sorceress.
Wow.
We also believe that the power that the necromancer wielded is, or has its origin, in the Sulis ruins. There were many, the markings and enchantments were in a distinctly ancient form that date back to that corrupted and lost empire. If her faith has continued, then it seems her schemes, or at least the schemes of her faith, are to, well, who knows? She's waited so long since her last attempt that one of her followers tries to seize this land back for her kind. We've kept this and simply referred to him in the abstract because those who hear, they think it be that those who hear of a necromancer think of, and she sort of gestures and there's a flash of magic. They think of the arcane, a wizard, corrupted and powerful in the ways of undeath. We did not want her name spoken of in connection with that legend, so while the paladins have sought to rekindle the legend of Sir Lothar, we had our own reasons for allowing the story of his deeds, however noble they may have been, to have been forgotten. But it seems, while we have asked others to forget, the Stern Lady has not.
She has a long memory.
Indeed. And her ambition and genius is not to be underestimated, nor those of her followers. There are many gifted wizards and clever charlatans among her number, as well as the power which she grants her devotees. This is a concern.
We can't allow
dark
deities can't be allowed to just roam free and get new followers. This is not
so right. We're back. For those listening at home, my apologies. We dropped our connection very briefly. It appears that the Stern Lady does not want these secrets out one way or the other. So what they say is that they are happy. Yeah, really. And that was him rattling his his chain. There's some discussion as to which church will take care of the sanctifying of this, and I think that what the decision effectively is to double down on things. Initially, to cover both the divine and any arcane elements. Bacab, the Temple of Bacab will take care of the initial cleansing, as it were, of it in connection with the Church of St. Cuthbert, and then it will end with the Church of St. Cuthbert. Church of St. Cuthbert, much like your faith, Chael, you are notorious foes of the undead, as are they. So between the two of them, between the faith of the Temple of Lore and the paladins and priests of the Red Temple, they will cover both of her sort of prominent areas of power, magic and death. But what do you intend to do? If you've made yourself, if you've revealed a secret that her followers have tried to keep from all of us, you may have made a foe of the Stern Lady and her followers.
I was already a foe of the undead.
Then we owe you a great debt, one which we will have when this emergency is finished, has concluded. We will find a way to properly thank you. And this is the prelate saying this. And Kelda of the Arcane likewise says, and we as well.
We appreciate that. Our goal, of course, is justice.
Yes. Justice.
As Nox is carving a mark in his hand.
Justice is alien coming out of Chael's mouth.
That's interesting. That's true. That's interesting.
It's more of the frontier. It's more the Clint Eastwood justice, I guess. The frontier justice.
Yeah.
I'm stealing something from Warren Ellis, but this is what he was actually saying. It just sounded like something.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah.
It's been in other things, but first time I came across that was Planetary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to read that again.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. That's one of those wells that I go back and dip in occasionally.
And it's tough because you can't really every one of those issues is so good and so full of stuff that it's just
it's chock full of it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, that informs anything for me going forward, pulp or superhero.
Yeah. It's a great.
I mean, it just does. It can't help it.
Yeah. Well, Archaeologists of the Impossible as a concept for a series, fucking amazing. Anyway, so what they're going to do is they will undertake to do the blessings in that temple. They will try and find a way to thank you as well too. But what do you? Unfortunately, what they say is we've brought you no closer to finding your lost friends.
A bridge isn't built as a bridge. A bridge is built stone by stone.
Yeah, and they nod kind of knowingly. Potlosh is at the door going.
Oh yeah!
You get a sense that it may have been lost on Potlosh, but
stone by stone. Yeah.
Fucking guy.
So then, what do you guys wish to do? They will help you in whatever, whatever. If you wish to, if your friends are in Kirkliston, or wherever you choose to go. Assuming you traveled here on foot, because you don't seem to have stored anything anywhere or ridden anywhere. They will offer, or rather, the church, the Red Temple, will offer you a wagon and a team of horses to drag. So you guys will not have to travel on foot if you're traveling to Kirkliston. And then if the trail continues on from there elsewhere, you carry it on until you have concluded this and found the members of our faith.
Excellent.
At the very least, what we can do, we can offer you. Sadly, we have not the proper steeds for all of your stalwart companions. And he looks at non-existent Dorman in a sense. Kid saddles.
No ponies.
What do you intend to do then? It's so time-wise, this has taken about maybe an hour, all things in. So you're probably getting to about 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock in the day.
So this is just an assumption on my part, but at least leaving town, heading towards Kirkliston, we would at least tangentially pass by the place that John directed us to, correct?
No, actually, but when you're heading towards Citadel Silver, It was west of town, is where he had directed, not east.
Well, I think that's where I think we need to go.
You guys want to go to the map?
Out. You please.
Done.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
So it's over in the Darkwood Forest, kind of.
So the town or the farm's got to be about there,
Okay.
right?
I mean, it's like a mile.
Yeah, that's not far.
No, 20-minute walk out of town.
Yeah,
I think
let's go
we-
check that out.
Yeah, we got light. Let's do it.
We got light and
Still
we kind
early?
of got a map.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of know. Yeah, let's go check that out.
Now
Okay.
you know we're gonna get lost in a blizzard, right?
I might legit get lost in the blizzard in the next couple days.
Is that right, Andrew? Is it gonna?
Yeah, we're getting freezing rain tonight. It started snowing about 3 hours ago, and we're expected to get 40 centimeters just tonight.
Fuck.
That's
Oh my god.
about a foot and a bit for you American friends of ours.
Yeah.
Appreciate the translation. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a lot.
You guys are getting hammered. It's so weird because Winnipeg, and I'm sure you too, Jeff. Like you guys have been fucking minus 25, minus 20, whatever.
yeah, it's been
we're gonna be
cold.
back above freezing. Like it's cold today. It's minus 20 today, but by Friday it's gonna be 5 degrees here.
Oh, Ontario's gonna get
brutal.
hammered. It's you know, if I was a better person, I would say something like, "It'd be a shame to." Well, I'm not a better person. It'd be a shame to be outside in this kind of weather. Say, I don't know, living out of a pickup truck or something
Yeah,
on
like
the
on a
side of the
convoy.
road, in a convoy or something like that.
Yep. Gotta love it when Canada makes the news, and it's because fucking Nazis.
You know what? It is a time-honored tradition for Nazi invasions of territories to fail to the
stealth.
winter and a lack of gas.
All right. Okay, so then let's see. The weather, it remains not that... there's snow that begins falling as you guys are going, thanks to... But, yeah, terrifying. Yeah, the number one, like the highway number one, when you're going through from Ontario back here, you're going through Saskatchewan, and like the whole eastern part of Saskatchewan is wide open, has brutal fucking winds. So it is just it's skating. Yeah, it's just awful. Let's see here. As you guys are making your way along, you have about 20 minutes or half an hour to sort of collect your thoughts. You're finally outside of the town as well too. You do seem to be, I guess, tell me this, are you doing anything? Oh, you know what? We're into the exploration mode, guys. What are you doing? Remember that we were talking about the things you can do as your exploration mode. Someone can, be the scout to give a bonus to initiative if we transition into combat. Someone can hide. And because of Tanev's, one of Tanev's skill or feats, he can actually do a thing where if you want to all be almost as sneaky as him, he can
The leader.
Yeah, he can be the leader for it. So what it allows you to do is, it means you guys can't take other actions, but what you get to do is basically there's two ways you can do it. One of them is to follow the leader, which is you act as if you have training you're trained in stealth and make your role yourself. The other thing you can do is he can have what is it? Can you click on your feet, Andrew? I can't remember how it works.
Here.
It's like one of you makes the roll.
Is it catfall? No. Quiet allies. That's
Yep,
it.
that's
I
the
can
one.
click on the triangle, right?
The triangle is for
I need
you
to click
to
on
see
the
it.
thing
There you
so
go.
you
Yeah,
can see it.
Quiet allies. You and those allies can roll a single stealth check using the lowest modifier instead of rolling separately. That's pretty. So it means only one person, and it's also you can use. So you still would get the benefit of following the Fall of the Expert. I'm not saying you guys have to do this, but if you really want to get out there without being spotted, this is the way to sort of go about that. And then it's only one person who has to spend a hero point to re-roll, as opposed to trying to get everybody. Who's not trained in stealth? If you don't have a T next to you. Okay, Chael's not?
Yeah.
I'm trained in it.
Okay. So Chael, what is your bonus with stealth right now?
I think I'm still at -1 total. Let me go look at that.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
'cause
I'm
I
not
wear
trained in
armor.
stealth.
Kelly,
You're not?
I have an E. What's an E?
expert.
Oh, you're.
Yeah, you're even better.
You're better
Oh,
than
okay.
trained.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trained.
So then, and I'm not saying this is what you have to do. It's just an opportunity to talk about this particular part of the rules. But what if he's got? Did you say -1 or +1, Chell?
I'm a -1 total because of my armor.
-1 total. So because you guys are level 3, that would mean it would actually be a +4. But if you're following
Okay.
Taniv's lead, you would have a +4 instead, and then you'd make a roll with +4. That would be the stealth check for everybody. And then you can spend a hero point and re-roll that if you want.
If it failed, yeah.
Yeah. If that I guess it would be Tanav making the roll for it, but that's if you guys all want to give up your other exploration mode activities. Other things are like keeping your shield up, or keeping watch, or
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Like, who is okay? Well, let me ask the question. So, say let's pull Chael out of the equation. So then, who becomes the lowest stealth?
I think if everyone else is trained, then there is no need. Oh, then it would be the lowest modifier. Yeah. Who is the lowest? It's probably going to be
What's yours,
either Rilligo
I have a
or
6.
Nox.
Wait, what's
have a
the
6.
what category?
What's your stealth bonus?
Stealth.
6 for Nox.
Stealth.
Yeah.
7.
7. Okay, so 6 is the lowest then.
It's me.
So why not? Why don't you let me come out of it and let me be the one on watch? Let me be the one looking, because I have a very good perception.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys be sneaky and let me watch for something sneaking up on us.
Okay.
Is that doable,
So you'll keep
Kevin?
scout. Yeah. So then you'll anyone's trying to keep watch would if you're successful. The only person who if you choose to do that approach, the only person who would who would be spotted would be Chael. Other things you could do are things like keeping an eye out for tracks, or which I think means you need to travel at half speed, so it would take you 40 minutes to get out there. But what are you guys thinking? Do you all want to be hidden on the way out there and just have Chael the only obvious one?
Well, let me ask this: are we asking the party? Are we concerned about tracks? Is that something that in a
I don't know
mile
if
of
we're
travel?
concerned about tracks, but I mean, I'm always concerned about ambush, being seen. I mean, that's.
I don't
that's
like those
always my
words.
concern.
Good point. But you can handle that, it seems. But somebody looking for.
Yeah, I've got my armor, and I mean, I
'Cause
can see something before it gets to us, and the rest of you could be a little
Was it-
sneaky.
Yeah, because I was assuming that finding tracks and that sort of thing would be more a survival skill than a perceive skill.
Probably.
Kevin, is that
Probably.
Let's see here.
fair?
I'm just checking right now.
Just trying to decide if we should just all be stealth except you, Chill, and you're covering all those bases, or if we need to have some other person
Yeah,
also.
track
trying-
means you use survival. It's a
Yeah.
skill use. So other things you could do, like detect magic, defending is raising a shield, avoid notice is what following the expert is what everyone would be doing, and then Tanav would be avoiding notice. You can also search, which is like looking for hidden doors, concealed hazards, things like that. You can scout, which gives a +1 circumstance bonus to everyone else's initiative. You can investigate, which is you use recall knowledge to try and discover information. Or you can hustle, move at double speed. You guys could get out there in about 10 minutes. 10, 12.
Would I be
I'm not worried about us
sacrificing-
getting out there quickly. I think we'll get out there, with no real lost time. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
But
it's not far.
I do think, kind of you guys being hidden and me being kind of the only obvious one, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it,
Makes sense.
especially if I can see them before they can see us.
Okay.
It makes sense to me.
So you be searching, and
that's-
everyone else will be avoiding or following the leader, and then Tanav will be avoid notice. Okay. So Tanav, why don't you give us a Nox? Your bonus is a +6.
Correct.
Why don't you give us a 1d20 +6 roll there, Tanav?
Come on, Def.
Yeah, this brother.
Sorry, it was plus
1d20 plus 6.
plus 6. Okay, right.
Yeah. 9. You do have
3. Really?
2 hero points.
Hero points?
You get another one right now, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, we one more because of 10:30.
Yep.
So go
Yep.
ahead.
Yeah.
Let's redo that because that
Okay.
was shite.
15.
Oh my
okay.
god.
That's better.
Okay.
I mean, kinda.
Well,
well, what you're rolling
It's
against is...
technically 3 times better.
So, you guys are all... what we would only see is Chael making his way through the falling snow towards this. You get to the point where you can see the that one... one oak strand, or not strand, one oak tree standing out on its own. It's pretty conspicuous. And, you look around. What is, Chael, your perception bonus is a what? It's pretty high. It's like plus 9, isn't it?
9.
So you can see where they are. The party's doing as good of a job as they can, but your elven senses can point, can easily keep track of where they are. You pass the tree, and it takes a little bit of looking around because with the all the deciduous trees having lost all of their leaves at this time of year, it's all just like tangles and whatnot. So spotting an actual track is a little more difficult, but you managed to find one, and there is enough of a beaten trail leading out there. It doesn't look like it's being it doesn't look like it's being used so often that the snow that has actually there's barely any snow at this time of year. It doesn't look like the snow that has fallen today has been disturbed by anyone, but the path has definitely seen a lot of use. It's that kind of like enough feet have tramped across here over the decades or centuries that it's going to be very difficult for anything to grow in the earth. It only takes about 5 minutes until you reach the end, and it's that kind of path where you feel like you definitely can, if you look ahead, you can see the path, but because everything is barren, it's almost like you're walking in the middle of a thicket. You can sort of see through everything, but it's also with the trees and the the bare trunks twisting up, it makes it difficult to spot things. It's very easy to imagine forms that are hidden in there because of all the intersecting lines that come from the twisting and barren bushes and trees. As such, it's difficult to really predict, when you suddenly find yourself walking out into this snow-filled clearing that's about maybe about 100 feet across and 100 feet wide, that has some snow-covered stones in them. And I need not tell you guys that the stones seem almost identical to that that rosy kind of hue that you saw in the Great Rock Dale. These stones have the same elven markings on them, albeit quite faded, and there is one stone that has fallen and cracked. These ones are not nearly in as good a condition as the ones that you saw in amongst the... what was the fortress that you guys were in? I can't remember, the Jürgen Fist or something like that. The holding of the what do you call it? What was it, the Seat of the Seal? I think we called it, where the stone giants were.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, and the one at Heathertop Warren and the one in the Great Rock Dale. Looking around, there doesn't appear to be anyone here. So, Cho, you're the only one really visible right now. Everyone else is keeping themselves at a discreet distance. What do you guys wish to do?
Yeah. Okay, say I'm actively looking for something.
So then you would be actively, let's see here. Okay, so you're looking around. What you will not be able to, you may be able to spot, but not be able to make sense of tracks. You would need someone who's trained in survival in order to make sense of that. What you can see with your naked eye, though, is that there doesn't appear to be any disturbance. There's some animal tracks that are in here, but there doesn't appear to be any human-sized tracks that have disturbed the most recent skiff of snow that has fallen. Although there's not, it's not even enough snow that's falling to really, apart from places where it's drifting up, it's still not really staying on the ground.
Okay.
What of the rest of you guys?
Go back over here.
You're sort of keeping a discreet distance right now.
Can I act like a warthog? Make noises?
You can. Yeah.
I have a
Chill.
performance.
Yeah, give us a performance check.
Yes, sir. Come on. All right.
We're all just fading into the woodwork here.
How do you do?
Chill. Steve, you do have 3 hero points if you want to re-roll that. 14, I think you can do much better than that.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah,
you're right.
go for it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rolled a 3 on that
There
one.
we go.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
So when Chill gets back, Chill hears the sound of a convincing sound of a warthog.
All right.
He turns, and fortunately, he does see Rilligo hiding, and Rilligo kind of, yeah. But there is no sign. You guys are further back, so you can't quite get a very good view of the clearing itself. But you're not seeing anything else living in here either, apart from birds and perhaps the sound of small things, squirrels and whatnot, scurrying around in the early winter.
So it seems normal. It's not like it's too quiet.
No. It's the normal sounds you'd expect to hear, a little ways away from civilization. You can see that before the stones, it appears that there's the remnants of some offerings that were placed there.
Approximately how can I tell what they are from this distance?
Not from here, Chill. You heard an uncanny impression of a warthog, but you were able to identify the source of it.
Yeah, and yet it had an accent.
Yeah. Quick, make your sound. Look over here. Look over here. What?
I'm gonna sort of motion to Chill to get his attention, and quietly say, "There's some sort of ritual materials there. I can move up and take a look, but I'm not very good at staying hidden."
I just kind of hold up my hand, kind of stop, and then I will go towards that area.
Okay.
Cautiously.
So you can hear the crunch of the dirt underneath you, frozen. Yeah, you make your way over, looking back and forth. You can feel again like this is great terrain for certain types to hide in, because even in the wintertime there's so many patches of twisting trees that it's very hard to make out if they're anything like your wood elf brethren. They could easily set up hunter's blinds. So you get to the where the one standing stone is, and as you get closer you can spy exactly what Nox talked about. Looks like there are some older offerings in here. But why don't you give us a religion check, please?
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
So you can clearly tell, whatever's being offered here, it is to some kind of forest deity, some kind of forest god.
All right. Since
Or nature, I should say, not forest, but what's being offered here are all natural things. More to the point, it's not the kind of items that you would see in, say, that corrupted shrine, the shrine to evil that you saw in the base of the windmill. And looking around, these standing stones in general are sort of a place that Obed High's worshippers often venerate. The fact that this may have been at one point a place of magic for elves may not make any difference to the followers of the oak. I think it's the old man or something like that is what they call them.
This is one of those player character knowledge things.
With a 25, you would know, I think, the name. So here we go.
Obadiah, right?
Obadiah, yep.
Yeah. So this is not a bad place, as far as that goes.
The Church of St. Cuthbert might feel that, you know, they prefer people be worshiping here, but it looks like this is still a place that people are using for that ancient faith, like we were talking about before. A lot of the wild places, that, you know, there's a lot of forest and there's a lot of hills in Middenmark, and St. Cuthbert is not the original faith out here.
No, of course not. St. Cuthbert is a faith of man.
Yeah.
And that's not who was originally here. Why would he send us out here? Either because he knew we wouldn't find anything. Any other ideas, fellas?
Have you come back and told us all this, what you found? Or are you still over there and waving us over?
Yeah, I think, I think that at this point, I think stealth is not as relevant. I mean, that's my opinion. Tanif, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never think it's relevant because
yeah.
I'm terrible at it. So.
But yeah, I think at this point we can not worry about being stealthy as much and kind of just group together and talk and say, hey, look.
You guys could also transition to
a-
different exploration activities like investigate or tracking.
Right. That's kind of what's more important, I think, now is
Yeah.
all that Chael sees, and Kevin, you can correct me, but it basically is a shrine to a nature deity of Obadiah. Who is, I think he's neutral, if I remember properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if nothing else, this is druidic at most.
Although some
And beyond that,
things, sometimes things of power can be corrupted for other uses. I would like to, I would like to, as a exploration activity, try to do some kind of arcana or some kind of detect magic or something to sort of sense to see if there's other magic somewhere in this area at
That
play.
is a great opportunity to talk about the repeat a spell activity, which is must be something you can do with 2 actions or less, and you can sustain it for up to 10 minutes. You don't have detect evil, no.
And detect magic detect magic is 2 actions.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Then why don't you give us an Arcana check, please?
Okay. Here comes.
Nice, very good. So there is a very interesting and complex ambient aura here. The stones themselves, I think that you have had an opportunity to look at the stone in Heathertop Warren and the stone in, and actually I don't think there was a stone in the Seat of the Seal, because otherwise you guys would have teleported back, right? Like you guys actually had to travel over land then. The stone here, there is a much weaker and you think perhaps broken enchantment here. It is an imperfect version of it, but whatever craftsman, however many millennia ago created these things, these phenomenally powerful elves, you can sort of have a flash of in your mind when you had that vision before you guys face MacLeod. Not MacLeod, it was Malfeshnikor. Years ago when you guys faced, you had that vision of it. Dating back to that time, those phenomenally powerful elves, this is unfortunately a imperfect one. It may be why when Elanian was detecting sort of the network of these different stones, he did not detect this one. But it remains. The other aura you can sense here is one of conjuration and I think enchantment, but it is also overwhelmingly a primal connection. A different and more raw form of magic than that granted from the divine, than the forgotten occultic mysteries of the lost, elves and Sulis and whatnot, or the formal arcane practices. What are the rest of you guys? What are you guys doing with your time while Nox
And just
is...
so everybody knows, I do relate that to everybody as it's happening in case that changes what you want to do.
Okay. He's like a psychic fraud. I sense.
Yes, here. It's
broken.
Stone. It's stone.
Is there someone with a J name out there? No.
Someone with a parent. Someone here has a parent?
Someone here is alive. I sense it.
I think Calidor would be keeping watch over the path, like any path in or out of this place.
Sure.
See if anyone, make sure no one's approaching us.
Let's see if there are any.
What
So,
if I would imagine like maybe Calidor takes like, you know, the direction we're going, and I take the path behind us, and we each watch one direction
Tanev,
or
are you
something?
trained in survival? I know what Calidor is.
I believe I am. I am.
Nice. Why don't you guys each give us a survival check then, please?
Hero points, hero points.
Wow. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have like 5 minutes left.
Yeah, let's re-roll those.
Spend a hero point.
Oh my goodness!
Oh no! Wait for it. Wait for it. 7.
Come on.
7? No.
23.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty good.
So, what you find, Tanev, is not actually necessarily tracks, but you don't find tracks in the sense of like a path going back and forth through here. It does appear that there is a second, like an exit out of here, as if it leads further, deeper down into the into these woods. But what you find near the edge is a couple of fairly big boot prints. That they're quite old, or at least they weren't created today. The earth is frozen in place, so it's clearly like whatever made this was in there. And the boots are actually going in, this step at least. And when you look a little further beyond, what you find concealed, cleverly behind a little bit of earth that has drops down and is well concealed behind a tree, is a spot that would be like just impossible to see as you're entering the entrance here, entering the clearing. And from the marks that are in here, you can see that it looks like this is not a hunter's blind, because there's nothing, there's no, unless you're waiting for game to come through here. It is a spot of ambush. It looks
I
like
would assume unoccupied, since
unoccupied, but certainly large enough to kind of reminds you with some of the things that are left on down here. It reminds you of that like squat or the place you found
windmill.
in the basement of the windmill. That first room near the storm door entrance.
Right.
If you look around a little
And-
further, you can see that there's also evidence of a heavy footprint coming out of here, as if someone.
When you say heavy, like humanoid footprints?
Oh, definitely human, or human sized.
All right.
But the size of the boot has got to be like, it's the equivalent of like a size 15. And it would definitely match the burly half-orcs that you've encountered in the windmill.
You know what they say about big footprints. Big axe.
Yeah.
They play for the NBA.
If you look around a little further, and Calidor, you're unable to find anything until sort of Tanev, points this out. If you look around, there are 2 of these spots.
Okay. I'll draw people's attention as well to it.
And Calidor, I think while you didn't do great on your survival check, I think your underworld lore would sort of kick in here, and you're looking one of the spots. That's to cut people off from leaving. That's to push people towards the waiting, the ones coming up the rear. And you look at the sort of the stone in the middle, the single rising stone. This is where they'd have nowhere to go. If you had a bunch of orcs charging towards you, your attention would be focused on them, so the ones that you passed and you weren't aware of could come right up behind you and give you a pretty bad ending to your day.
So immediately I'm worried about, why are they not here now? and I will start to like. I'm suddenly very weary of our surroundings. I'm going to start looking like beyond the sides of the path.
Yep.
See if I can find any evidence of where they might have gone.
It looks like they haven't been here in days.
Okay.
At least from the way the.
I'm assuming the fire pits are down. The tools are kind of discarded. Or?
Well, they wouldn't keep a fire pit because that'd be hard to hide.
Right.
Yeah. It looks like these are places I think that Tan or Calidor could. Again, once again, give you some insight on that. It's an ambush spot. This is where you're going to bushwhack people. We're off the road, and it's in such a way that if people are using this as a place to go and pray, you're not really disturbing them all that much. You may need to clean up the mess that you've made, as it were. But there is a path leading deeper into the forest, and if not there, then you get all these woods around you could bury bodies in, so.
Yeah, chill. Maybe.
Calidor, give us an underworld lore check. I want to see, what I'm trying to determine is if you could judge how many ambushers there would be. If anyone else has a lore they think would apply here, I'm happy to have you give it a try. Okay.
I have warfare.
Yes, most definitely. Give us a warfare.
Okay.
Nat
Whoa,
20.
crits. Yeah.
Wow.
You can tell that the 5 half orcs that you faced in the building there, you can almost point out precisely where they are. 3 at this spot, 2 at this spot, plus the Winan.
Okay, I relay that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did we? Sorry, and I may have missed it, but do we get a sense of how old these tracks are or spots?
I mean, these
Couple
places.
days, he said.
These things have been here for at least a season.
Okay.
So I mean, they're not things that have been here for since time immemorial, and there's no reason why you would keep these here other than to ambush. They're just not suitable for like a hunter's blind.
Yeah. Okay.
And certainly, had Tan have not spotted that track, it'd be very, very hard to spot these things. And knowing the polite way of saying is the Wildborn. The Wildborn can see in starless nights. So if you were having difficulty getting in, they'd be on you before you knew it, and even if you had time to run, you just run right into another pack of 2. That's assuming that Davilar had no other way of otherwise affecting you.
Right. I just, based on what Tana explains to us and having then sort of gotten a sense of like how effective of an ambush spot this might be for them, I think Nox wants to look around for remains, like skeletons or graves that have been hastily dug or anything that look anything like that.
So I think we will end our session with you finding the first of them. Why doesn't everyone give us a...
Wait, with the first? What do you mean?
Give us, let's hear, everyone give us a perception check, please.
Not me.
Nat 1. Nox is like, I'm dead, I'm buried!
Help me.
Calidor, not 20 for Calidor, though.
That.
There we go.
Okay.
Nice, Jeff.
So you find the first one, Nox, just because you were also using your magics and whatnot, too, and you find a... it hasn't been disturbed by animals yet. Like, they clearly knew to bury them deep enough to not be found, but you find the disturbed earth. It's got to be months that it's been here, and Calidor, you find what you think is the most recent one. Now, the most recent one, because it's quite fresh, the most recent one is only within the last month.
Ooh.
So if there are any... If your paladin allies did fall victim to their schemes, Caldor, you're likely standing atop their grave.
Great.
We will find what is in there in 1 week's time. So,
Put an ellipsis in the notes.
For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for Chapter 7 of our war story. So we'll be back again next week at the same time, and we'll see what bodies await our heroes underneath there. And we get to, really, this is just slowly transitioning into, CSI mid-mark. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, then either this one or AD&D, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. I will save one segment of commenters spare. We are not switching the campaign over to Pathfinder 2. We are using Pathfinder 2 for this war story because I felt that it was a more effective set of game mechanics for telling this particular type of story. So we will be returning to AD&D 2nd Edition. We are just going to be playing this war story until it comes to its natural conclusion. It does have a conclusion, and once it does, we'll return to the present day and our heroes advancing on Broken Spire Keep. In addition, you can find a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where you are more than welcome to join us. We have channels over there dedicated to this campaign, every other campaign we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels, including recently everyone's been sharing as Kickstarter rewards have been coming in the image channel. That's been pretty exciting, seeing particularly the One Ring Kickstarter coming in. But it's a great community over there. You are more than welcome to join us over there. Last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our brave heroes. So, George, Andrew, Will, Steve-O, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday night, guys. Congratulations on uncovering the cursed grave. I mean, the completely normal grave. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with. I mean, it's not like these people are followers of a goddess of death and magic. And
I mean, Kevin never throws undead at us.
We're good.
I've been eager. I've been waiting for some. 'Cause,
Yeah, I know, right?
There is a new book. I expect we'll be done this war story by the time it comes out. But in March, there's a new book coming out for Pathfinder 2 that is exclusively devoted to the undead. So
we need to finish this in February.
yes,
ticking clock is coming.
Clock, boys and girls.
There is an undead sword of Damocles over our heads. So that's when we find out that he already pre-ordered it and it gets the PDF in like a week, and then the hard copy comes in a. That's a good point. I'm a subscriber to the. You know what? We may very well see it. Thanks, Andrew.
It's all your fault, Andrew. This is all your fault. You had one job.
The most conspicuous rogue. So then we will be back next week to continue on with this campaign. Until then, we hope that we've given you a couple of hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are uncovering in the Duchy of, or the Prelacy of Midmark. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.